So I'm going to do a little pastel drawing demonstration. Um, so one of the biggest mistakes that people often will use when or do. So I'm just going to do a little pastel drawing demonstration. Um, One of the biggest mistakes people do when they're using pastels, they start off with a graphite pencil. Um, that's a mistake. Graphite and um, pastel don't work well together. Um, and so, if you're more comfortable using pencils to start off your drawing, which I am too, um, the best thing to do is to get some pastel pencils. Um, so I have a set here that I'm starting, and so that way I can work like I would with a regular pencil with a quick gesture drawing. Um, kind of get the placement of everything. And I can use block pastel later to fill in some of the bigger areas. So I'm working on just using a Stranger Things image here for reference of 11. So pastel is just, normally you'll find it in blocks like this. So if you look over here, see these guys? So right like this. You'll find them in blocks comparable to that. Those are soft pastel squares. And again, it's mostly pigment with a little bit of gum arabic as a binder. All right, so they'll take pigment, they'll mix it with some gum arabic, and stick it together and make sticks. As a result, it's got very little binder. So if you take a chamois, which I don't have a clean chamois, so I'm just going to use a clean cloth. It moves around quite a bit on the paper. And so it's obviously ideal to get some fixative to adhere these pigment particles to the paper once you're done working on your drawing. So like I said, it's got very little binder, moves around quite easily. It's almost pure pigment, so it blends super well, but it's hard to control. And so uh, the key to learning to use pastel is to learn how to control it and to learn how to let it do what it does. All right, so I'm going to stop this and go to time lapse and work on this a little bit, and then I'll drop back in with some regular video. So hey there, just going to finish up this video with my 11 drawing. So just adding in some details, maybe blending some things in a little bit. Just got some blending sticks or tortillas, whatever you want to call them, just so I can go in and soften some of these areas. So just going in and moving some of this stuff around. Okay. There's a couple little things I want to add in. So I'm going to go in with the you might find that you need to use some workable fixative with pastel. I've seen artists do that a lot. They'll go in, get it to a point where they want it to kind of sit still for on the paper, and they'll spray it with workable fixative, and then go back on top of it and work on it some more, and then at the end I'll spray some more final fixative on top of that. So as you work, and depending on how you work with it and decide that you're comfortable working with the different medium, you figure out how to use it a little bit better to suit yourself. And so that just takes time and practice. So I'm just trying to get some darks in. I need to probably invest in some more pastels if I'm going to do this more. I enjoy it, so I might go ahead. I was pricing out some pastels online. I'm not sure how much I want to spend on them. A couple of sets that I was looking at, they're going to cost me a little over $100, and I'm not sure I want to. But I thought to do a demo specifically for my drawing class, this would be a good idea. So I'm just going in here, trying to darken this blood. I need a darker red. I'm using some dark browns to kind of darken up that red a little bit. It looks better. And if you have relatively good pastels, the colors, even the lighter colors, will sit up on top of the darker colors. So for example, I'm going to go in with some white, put some highlights on that to make it look as you would expect. It blends in a little bit with the background color. But it sits up pretty well. Sorry, I'm having to log into my it sits in pretty good. So that's just a white pastel pencil. That's all that is. And I also have been using a little bit of white Conte for highlights. So if you zoom into my picture a little bit on my laptop. So if you look in here, so just looking at the highlights, and again, those make it pop. And if you need to, you might decide you might want to erase out some of those areas before you add your white in. But this is just a Conte. Sorry, you can't see because of my big head. All right. Another highlight here. And again, if you look, I'm just looking, I'm not too worried about some of this stuff. Some of the highlights on the textures of her jacket. And then go in and darken it a little bit more. Just take a towel to blend that in a little bit. I'm looking back at the image, seeing if there's anything I feel like I need to add. So she's getting there. And again, as I said maybe at the beginning of the video, what's key with Pastel is learning how to back off, learning how to kind of dial back on your control, and not worry so much about getting complete control of your drawing. Sometimes you just kind of let the material do what it does. I kind of think of pastel like oil paint, so that, you know, same thing with oil paint, you kind of learn how to play with it, learn how to work with it. Sometimes you just kind of let it do its thing. And once you learn the material and learn how to do that, it makes it a little easier on you. You don't feel like you have to have so much control over it. I really try, and I do this with oil paint as well. I really try to avoid using black. So I'll use browns, dark blues, dark reds. But I try to avoid using black. I feel like black overused, it deadens the colors. And, you only want to use black where absolutely necessary. Same thing with white. I mean, white by itself, it's good for a pop, but then you don't want to overuse it. So I'll go in, add some darks. And then knock them back in. Knock them back a little bit with my blending stick. But I think she's about done. So I hope this helps. Anybody out there trying to work with pastel, it can be a frustrating medium. So you just need to be patient with it. And again, try not to overwork it. Try not to control it too much. And practice with it and get a feel for the medium, just like any new medium that you're working with. All right, thank you. I'll talk to you guys later.